Well, hello again. Um, I am just here this time to have a quick chat or talk. Guess I can't figure out which one it is. Ramble, I guess. No, but essentially, um, talk a quick bit about the reporting system, right? So, uh, I was in a match the other day, and I happened to notice at the end, I took this screenshot here, that it was Slaytanic Jim's group, right? Now, I've never played him before. I've never watched his videos or anything before. But the reason that I recognize the name is I'd heard somebody else mention his name before as somebody who liked to report cheaters. Now, it was a little bit more in the context that that Slaytanic Jim was kind of like Billy Butcher in that he was a cheater hunter. But the reality of it is he's not really a cheater hunter. He's not even really discerning. He's just more like a rage reporter, right? So, and I'll include a link to the live stream. And that's the thing, it was on a live stream. You can go and you can listen to him rage. And you can listen to him rage about me, of all things, as a cheater. That's right. I was a terrible, bad cheater, apparently, because my sword killed him. And that's impossible, apparently, because he's too good of a player. I don't know what it is, but I had the match with him, and I came out of the match, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah, okay, so I was right. That was that person, and I was wondering, was I going to get reported or not? Right? If you look at this, the two guys that are above me here, I went and I looked at these guys originally. This guy at the top, Yampol, he's got over a 10K rating. He was like 10.3 plus. Like, he's pretty high up there. And this Camaro guy, he has an 8700 plus rating, right? And then I have over a 9K rating. So those two guys are very good players, right? And the one that I was actually paying attention to during the battle is this guy, Sea Hanger, though. If you watch the video from where I have it started and you pay attention to what's in the background a little bit, you'll see a guy go by Slaytanic with a leech on his way to the center beacon on Valley. That guy that goes by him at that point, that leech had ultimate Tulums on it, and I was fighting a guy in center when that guy went by, and he came out and just blasted me down while I was fighting the other guy. That same guy, Sea Hanger, though, the very first bot that got me, he dropped down with an ultimate leech. So he had and he got that hooked on me during the center beacon fight, and my guys came in and lit him up. And well, of course, we all know what happens if if you light up an ultimate leech. Well, it's attached to somebody. The person it's attached to goes down really quickly, and that's what happened to me. So the first time I went down to the ultimate leech, the second time he shows up in a different leech with the ultimate Tulums on it. The ultimate leech that he had gang gills or whatever those things are, the sparkle guns, and ha, if you go and he says see hanger though, if you go and you look at his hanger, he had an entire hanger of leeches. Um, and he was the guy that got me twice. After that, I dropped my sword, and there was another guy with a sword on the field. The first guy with the sword was running the Ring of Fire sword setup, and he took down Slaytanic just before I took down Slaytanic. And if you look at the video, if you'll notice the time that I get in there, just before that, you'll see my sword out in the center beacon area, turning around and chasing towards a Nodens that's in there. And then you'll see me come up again And the time that I get Slaytanic, I come up and there's actually another bot to his right. And you'll see that I'm actually shooting at that other bot. And I don't remember, I can't visually remember whether or not I got charged up from that guy or was charged up on takeoff. But, I got bombed a little bit and that charges it up. And when I went in, um, a charged up sword is dangerous, right? That's how you do the damage. And so I took down both the Titans. And he raged on that. Apparently, that was his last bot. So he sat there and he watched me. And I had another opportunity with two Titans that were really close near center. And I got lucky. And I got charged up on my way in. You can see my shield flash a couple of times. And that's all it really takes, right? That's all it really takes. And I got those two down. Now, earlier, just before this fight, I was in another one where there was a guy who was bombing at my sword with a what were those booms, and they take a long time. So I saw him shoot him off, and I knew they were coming. He'd already fired at me before when I landed and took down my Aegis shield. So I saw him fire. Then I took off. While I was up, I got hit by them, so it hit my shield. Charged up, I hit him, took him out in 3 swings, right? So the charging up matters, and a lot of people don't seem to really pay much attention to it. I had another one where I was sitting there firing at something at center and Yama, and a sword came down and attacked me, and it wasn't charged up at all. And I didn't move. I just kept firing at the guy I was firing at. He swung at me, and he swung at me, and he swung at me, and he did very little damage to me at all. And then he disappeared. I pretty much just ignored him because I saw him take off and I saw that he never got a charge. Nobody ever shot him. So when he came in, as long as I didn't attack him or anything, and I was at full health, he wasn't going to do much, and he didn't. And so you really got to understand the charge, and it doesn't seem like Slaytanic really understands how that thing charges up and what the difference is between a charged sword and an uncharged sword, right? But like I said, I will include a link that is set to right at the beginning of the match with him, and you can listen to him talk, and you can see the point which then he sees me, and then he gets all ragey and stuff. But the thing about it is people say, oh yeah, the system doesn't work. Well, as soon as I saw this, right, and I saw this pop up, and I look at their stuff, and I look at sea hangers, and I'm like, okay, and I look at them, and I see these guys. He's like, I don't know, 7K or something like that. I don't understand why he talks about how good he is. He didn't do anything spectacular here. His damage is pretty low. Most of theirs are pretty low here. You'll notice that they are less than half of the top 4 on this side. So there's a reason why they got wiped. But so I come out and I have this. So what you need to do is you need to understand how the reporting system works. Now the thing about it is I was around before there was a reporting system. I was around before there was an LPQ. And I saw these things when they were introduced, and I saw how they kind of worked at the beginning. And so I kind of assume they work that way now. It's just kind of under the covers. They don't talk about it anymore. The LPQ is right up in front. Now it's just kind of an underpinnings kind of thing. So you say to yourself, "Oh, you got this." Yeah. Well, you know what? One person's word doesn't mean anything. That's the reality of it, right? My word, just because I decided somebody was a cheater doesn't mean that person actually was cheating. And just because I decided somebody was a cheater, I decided to rage and call somebody a cheater, like what happened here, doesn't mean anything's going to happen from Pixonic, but it does not mean that the reporting system isn't working. You have to understand, think of it this way. With 1 point, you can't draw a line. It takes 2 points to draw a line. But if you have 2 points, you don't have a direction, right? Until you get a 3rd point. You don't have a direction, you don't have a trend. You need at least 3 points to do that. Think of this system that way, with a layer known as de novo involved, okay? So Slaytanic reports me as a cheater. Their system says, okay, we now have a logged case for RezDog. Do we have a matching alert or any alert from de novo? Because RezDog's on Steam, there's de novo. Do we have a matching alert? Do we have an alert of any kind at all on de novo to match with this? If the answer is no, the next question is, do we have a trend? What do you mean, do we have a trend? Well, one person doesn't mean anything, and one match doesn't mean anything. As anybody knows who watches these things, unless it's blatant, like they're flickering or they're under the ground or they're, there are certain things that are blatant. Just because somebody kicked your ass doesn't mean they're cheating, right? So one match and one person does not make a trend. You need to have multiple people from multiple matches, right? You know these really blatant cheaters that are just, they're running a hellfire and they're just, flashing instantly from beacon to beacon to beacon. Or I haven't seen one of them in a while, but those are the ones you see. Well, if they got reported, if they did 3 matches, 4 matches, 5 matches, whatever. But if they got 3 of those matches, they got reported on, and they got reported by more than one person across those 3 matches, preferably more than one per match, then they'll get flagged, and then Pixonic will look at it. You have a trend and multiple people complaining about multiple matches. That's when you have a problem. But if you just have a solo complainant, that's not a problem. Because you get people like this that just, get waxed and then they rage, right? So it has to be multiples, right? And that's when something takes effect. Or it has to be backed up with a flag from de novo, okay? So if you don't have either one of those, Pixonic won't take action. You either have to have a trend or a flag. However, that does not mean the system doesn't work. You just have to understand how it works. You have to understand that when you see an actual cheater, everybody that sees him in that match needs to report them, and they need to report them every time they see them, because it is the trend of reports that gets followed up on, not individual single events, right? If somebody really is cheating like that, they're going to be doing it a bunch and they're going to be seen in more than one match. So there's going to be a trend. Either that or there is a matching flag in de novo that says something was going on, and then they can do something. Outside of that, though, if you were to watch his video, there's no proof of anything, and what a waste of time it is for them. Really, I'm not trying to defend Pix, but the reality of it is, take Slaytanic's raging, and think of how many other people there out there rage complain, right? File a report. Guarantee I've done it. I've gotten pissed and I went out there, I didn't do nothing. Report for inactivity. Okay, well, there needs to be a trend. If you're just doing it by yourself, well, it is getting to the system and they are getting logged. That is clear. What's not happening is if it's just you, there's no trend. So there's no action taken. If it's just you and there's no matching flag in de novo, no action is taken. If you and 2 other people in one match report somebody, and then in another patch, another person reports that same person, in another match, 2 more people report that person, now you have a trend. Now they'll do something. But we have a lot of people out there who are very complacent and don't report at all, mixed with people who just report on everything with no discernment whatsoever, right? So I kind of understand Pix's predicament, but I just thought I'd share. It does work. You just have to understand how it works. And you have to understand that, again, one point doesn't make a trend. You have to have a trend. And if you don't have an ethos to back it up, as far as an argument goes, right? You have your You have your logos, your pathos, and your ethos. And your ethos is, of course, your appeal to authority. So unless you've got your appeal to authority, in this case, that would be de novo, as the authority that they've implemented in place. If your appeal to authority doesn't have a flag, then you have to have a trend. So, um, but I would check it out though, because it is kind of fun to listen to him rage, and he rages about somebody that it has never ever wasted their time doing anything like cheating. So yeah, I just thought it was an opportunity to share because I knew when I saw his name show up in this list that I might get reported because I'd heard that he was kind of a rage reporter. And lo and behold, he did. And I thought I'd share because there are people out there who think that the system isn't active. It is. You just have to understand how it works, and you have to understand that it takes more than one person uh, um, to generate a response. It takes a trend. So, something to keep in mind. I am going to be working on another little video later. I do want to talk a little bit about the changing meta and where I'm working, what I'm working towards. But for now, hopefully this helps for those people who think that this doesn't work. They understand that it does, and that they understand that how it works. So that if you're making the complaints and you're just raging, there's a good understanding that absolutely nothing's going to happen, and you're not actually doing anything at all other than demonstrating your rage. But if you have a serious cheater, that person's going to get picked up because multiple people are going to see it. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that. If this isn't your kind of a thing, that's fine. There's no battles in this one. I will be doing some other recordings later. So sorry about that. But hopefully this helps. And as always, take care of yourselves.